Hello, dear friends. I wish you a day full of energy and joy. Today, we will continue to explore the surprising developments in Tieu Ca's story. Stay tuned so you don't miss any exciting moments. Tieu Ca's new house has finally been completed, and all the work has been finished. She has moved most of her belongings and pets into the new home, feeling a sense of joy as everything is slowly falling into place. She is hurrying to tidy up a bit more in preparation for the new life of her and her child. While Tieu Ca is focused on her work, a familiar sound suddenly echoes. Footsteps approaching, followed by more footsteps growing louder. At first, Tieu Ca thought it was Hmong, her dear friend. He had told her the day before that he would come to help her with some last-minute things, preparing for their move-in. She looked toward the door, smiling happily, awaiting his arrival. But as the footsteps grew closer, she realized it wasn't just one person, but many with hurried steps, which made her curious. Tieu Ca looked up, her eyes filled with questions, and then suddenly turned around. What she saw made her heart skip a beat. Before her stood not only Hmong, but also his adoptive parents. They had come without any notice, without any prior arrangement. Hmong stood there, holding a small gift basket, his eyes filled with warmth and friendliness. His parents smiled kindly, their faces showing the love and care they had for Tieu Ca. "We came without warning, hoping we could help with anything," Hmong said, his gaze sincere. Tieu Ca stood speechless, overwhelmed and emotional. She never imagined she would receive such an unexpected act of kindness from her friends and loved ones. They had come to celebrate with her and to help her settle into her new home. A warm feeling spread throughout Tieu Ca's heart, and she felt no longer alone. Beside her were good friends, people who were ready to share all the difficulties of life. She smiled, her eyes softening as it seemed like all the worries in life suddenly became lighter. "Let me give you a hand," Hmong said, bringing the gift basket closer to her. Tieu Ca smiled and nodded, feeling a sense of peace and love filling the air. The hurried footsteps from earlier now blended into the rhythm of a new life full of joy and tranquility. Every time she met with her loved ones, Tieu Ca felt the true value of family, friendship, and the people who stood by her, sharing both her joys and sorrows. Her new life was no longer solitary, but filled with love and care from those around her. At this moment, Tieu Ca didn't look very neat, with her fingers covered in dirt and sweat from cleaning the new house. She saw Hmong and his parents walking in, and for a moment she felt a little embarrassed. She stammered slightly, her voice soft but betraying a hint of nervousness. "Hello, Uncle and Aunt. Please come in, the house is still a bit messy, I hope you'll understand." Hmong's parents looked at her with gentle eyes, no longer with the scrutinizing gaze they once had. Hmong's mother smiled, her voice calm and warm. "It's all right, dear. We told Hmong to bring us here to visit you, since we haven't had a chance to come by since you returned from the hospital. And we thought we could see if you need any help finishing up with your new house." Tieu Ca let out a sigh of relief, smiled, and responded, "Yes, I'm almost done, so there's no need, thank you." They sat and chatted for a while, and the atmosphere between them seemed to lighten. Hmong's parents began to look at Tieu Ca with different eyes, not just with sympathy, but with understanding and admiration for her resilience. They understood that Tieu Ca had fought against fate, overcome hardships on her own, and build a new life without relying on anyone. Hung's mother looked at Tieu Ca with sincere eyes, gently speaking, "Now I understand why Hung has feelings for you. Even though we tried to stop him, Hung did not hesitate. He didn't back down from being with you. You are strong, resilient, and I see that you deserve happiness." Tieu Ca was a bit confused, not fully understanding what Hung's mother meant, but she continued, "Today we are here to talk to you and Hung about something. If you agree, we hope you two will move forward. Once everything is settled and you feel ready, we would support you in having a wedding and starting a new life. Hung can take care of you, help ease the burdens you've carried all this time." Tieu Ca stood still, her heart overwhelmed with emotion. She couldn't believe that in the end, Hung's parents had changed their view and accepted their relationship. A wave of gratitude surged within her, feeling as though every difficulty, every trial had its purpose. She lowered her head, hesitated for a moment, and then softly responded, "Yes, I thank you both very much for loving me and allowing Hung and I to move forward. I am truly grateful for everything you've done, and I feel so fortunate to have you both by my side." The atmosphere in the room became warmer than ever before. The relationship between Tieu Ca and Hung's family had undergone a significant change, and Tieu Ca felt no longer alone. Her life now had a new direction, a future full of hope, with loved ones always ready to accompany her. After that emotional meeting, Tieu Ca felt a sense of lightness in her heart. She clearly felt peace knowing that Hung's parents had accepted her, and she no longer felt stigmatized or discriminated against because of her background. For the first time, she felt that even though she was a girl from a poor rural area, she could still be loved and cherished just like anyone else. As for Hung, his joy seemed impossible to hide. He seemed like someone who had just stepped out of a sweet dream, his face always glowing with a smile, his eyes shining with happiness. This joy was not only reflected in his words, but also in every gesture, every step he took. Hung went to the wood workshop to check on the work, but his face could not hide the joy from the previous day. To him, that meeting was not just about acceptance, but also a major turning point in his life. Hung was more gentle and open with everyone, easily letting go of the worries and burdens he had carried for many years. The freedom in his soul was now clearly visible, as if everything had been cleared away. CEO Hung and his managers sat and chatted happily. The conversations were no longer stiff, but full of warmth and closeness. The bright smiles, the sound of laughter echoed, and the atmosphere in the workshop became warmer and more comfortable than ever before. Surely, few people knew that Hung was not the biological child of his current family. He had lost his parents when he was very young, a pain that he had carried throughout his childhood. After his parents passed away, he was adopted by his uncle, and from then on, his life began to change significantly. Hung knew that his father was a soldier who had sacrificed his life on the battlefield to protect the country. That was a painful memory he carried with him for life. A special event happened when Hung was very young. Once, he and his uncle got lost during a military march. Because of Hung's help, his uncle protected him and adopted him, bringing him home and taking care of him ever since. It was from this love that he found a real home. Hung knew that he was not only adopted because of affection, but also because of the resilience and strength he showed during those difficult childhood years. Looking back, Hung realized that it was those challenging and tough experiences that had shaped him into the person he was today. And now, with the love between him and Tieu Ca being accepted by her family, he felt an indescribable happiness, as if everything in his life had found peace, a brighter future than ever before.
Một ngày nắng oi ả, ánh mặt trời rực rỡ chiếu thẳng xuống khu đất trống nơi Tieu Ca đang tất bật dọn dẹp. Cô cảm thấy rõ sự thay đổi trong công việc khi việc dựng nhà đã không còn là gánh nặng nữa. Nhờ sự hỗ trợ nhiệt tình từ Hùng, cô đã thuê được nhiều người để về dựng căn nhà, và chỉ vài ngày nữa thôi, căn nhà nhỏ ấy sẽ hoàn thiện. Còn lại những công việc nhẹ nhàng như dọn dẹp, thu xếp đồ đạc và là những việc cô có thể tự tay lo được, không phải vất vả với những công việc nặng nhọc. Tieu Ca cảm thấy nhẹ nhõm hơn, nên hôm nay cô quyết định ra ngoài thu hoạch hoa quả từ thôn bạn khác ở gần đó để đi Diep bán kiếm thêm thu nhập. Thời điểm này đang là mùa vải chín, những quả vải thơm lừng, ngọt lịm, mọng nước đang chín rộ khắp các khu vườn. Đây là cơ hội tuyệt vời để Tieu Ca có thể có thêm chút thu nhập từ món hoa quả này. Với quyết tâm và đôi tay chăm chỉ, Tieu Ca đến những vườn vải trong vùng nơi người dân đang hái. Cô đi từ nhà này đến nhà khác, thu gom từng quả vải chín mọng, xếp chúng vào sọt. Bà chủ vườn biết cô là người siêng năng, đã nhiệt tình giúp đỡ cô đốn cành vải còn sót lại, giúp cô thu hoạch dễ dàng hơn. Bác cũng chia sẻ với Tieu Ca rằng mình đang định trồng loại cây ăn quả khác thay thế vải, vì vải đã không còn như xưa.